Hello and welcome to this video. If you haven't been following my YouTube channel or our Facebook page on Indigo Insight, you'll probably know already that I'm a massive fan of the ViceVersa tarot cards. Now, I was lucky enough to get these literally when they were first released on Amazon, and I just picked up a deck straight away because they appeal to me. Now, I know there was another ViceVersa deck that came out sometime in the history, but I've never come across that deck. But this particular deck, it just really appealed to me. And I was really fortunate recently in Oxford City to get a copy of the book, the real proper book, and the deck itself as a kit, as it were. Because initially all I had was just literally the cards with the little white book, which didn't really explain anything more about the cards than any normal little white book does. And I will explain that a little bit. So if you don't know about the ViceVersa tarot, this particular deck, I can't pronounce the name of the artist, I'm afraid, but I've talked about it quite extensively, and I've done other videos about the deck. But in short, the deck is double-sided, as in ViceVersa. So for instance, you know, this is the front, and then this will be the back, or as they say in the book, the other side. And I'll talk about the book in a minute. So, you know, this is the Queen of Pentacles on the one side, and this is on the other side. Now, what I really love about this deck is the fact that it really is a three-dimensional deck. As in most cases, you just get one side with certain meanings, and obviously the symbology and stuff. You know, the symbols inside, you know, they mean certain things. And I know that everyone who is an intuitive tarot card reader will have their own interpretation of the cards, etc., etc. But there is a core meaning to any tarot card. I mean, unless it's the Thoth deck or something. But the whole reason why I like these cards has been because there is a three-dimensional level to them. So on the reverse card, you're getting another insight, as it were, to each particular card, and you're seeing it from a different angle. So this is actually much more explained in, you know, better explained in detail actually when you read the book. And I read this book I read it from cover to cover literally on the day I got it, and then on the second day I read the court cards, because they're treated slightly different. But what I love about this deck is the fact, and also the author of the book, Linnea Weatherstone, I think that's the name of the author, and I guess that's the person. The artist is obviously one person who has interpreted the meaning of the cards. So I was really excited to actually get the book, because I've struggled with, if you've watched my other video, I've struggled with, one, how you would read the cards, but also on the back of the cards there are symbols and such like that, you know, are kind of unusual. And the whole reason is because the author, the person that's obviously designed the cards, wants people to read them in a three-dimensional way, in as much as it's not the reverse of the card. Okay, it's not like you're reading the card upside down. I personally don't like doing that anyway, never have done in 30 years, you know, it doesn't mean, but I know other people do. But the reverse, or, you know, the other side of the card is not the reverse of the front of the card, okay? So if you read reversed cards or upside down cards, then obviously that has another meaning for you. And I'm guessing if you're, you know, got the back of the card, and you got it upside down, I guess that's going to mean something for you as well. So you could say that's almost fourth dimensional. But anyway, the book, going back to the book is excellent. It's now one of my 3 books that I am going to be referring to from, you know, well, I don't really refer back to the book an awful lot, but I like to read what the author has put into each of the cards. So the first thing is, the author says there isn't a reverse of a card. There is this side, and then there is this side, or that side. So I think she calls it this side, which is typically the front, and then the back of the card, she's calling it that side, which I thought was really, really good. So so there isn't really a reverse meaning, and each of the cards has a different, let's say, you know, let's look at the sun. Okay, so you've got the typical elements of the sun with the horse and the child, and obviously the sun with sunflowers and such like. But on that side, so this is this side, that's that side. On that side, you've got other symbolisms in there. So you've got a wall with some people on and some mountains in the distance, and what do you call it, kind of a Cleopatra's needle type thing, you know. So the card actually means the same thing. And see how this is obviously the day, and then this, you know, is dusk or evening time, you know. So this has more depth to this side, and that's basically how you read these cards. And of course the other questions, if you'd seen my other video, the other questions were that I had was how you would read the cards, and my initial intuition was correct. There is no right or wrong. You know, if a card comes up that way, you know, if you get that side of the card in the reading, and that's, you know, the way you lay that card down, but all the others are the other way, then you would read the card in that particular way. So, but I think one of the ways that I would be using the cards would be to get more depth while you're doing a reading. So if there was something, you know, a placement of a card or a series of cards in a reading that you wanted to expand on, I would typically deal more cards. You know, I would actually just lay a couple of extra cards, which has always worked for me, would give you more depth or more insight into that particular area of the reading. With these cards, I think you know, I would be inclined to actually turn them over if I so wished, or I felt like I needed to turn them over to get more depth of that particular placement of card in that way. So, you know, I think there's just so much. There's kind of a 3D level now. It's a bit like playing 3D chess. You know, you've got a lot of angles to come from on reading. So yeah, absolutely love. The book is very, very well produced. You've got a full color plate on one side, and then you've got an explanation from the author. It says this side, and then when you turn the page, you get another full spread color plate with an explanation of that side. You know, so they're not calling it, you know, she's obviously not calling it the reverse. And then on the minors, you're getting both cards, kind of, you know, this side and that side with an explanation of each on one page, you know. So, you know, you've got the Ten of Pentacles, and then the court cards are treated separately. They're actually at the back, which you know, is also really, really good. So, you know, this is the King and Queen of Pentacles, you know, so you've got, and now the thing that I love about this, so when you get to the court cards, there is an explanation obviously from the author saying, you know, that these are qualities or resources or aspects to people, okay, with the court cards, which is really, really good. One of the best explanations that I've ever seen. And look at the explanation here is in one paragraph, you know, and she just Oh, amazing. Really, really amazing. So the court cards are called Outer Self, which would be this side, and then that side is the Inner Self. Very, very, just so simple, but it works. It's really, really good. And my own intuition on sort of with working with these cards so far has been very much it's there's just so much depth, which is what I really, really like. Now, the other thing that the author actually mentions is that these are quite psychology based, which again I really, really love, because that fits in with Indigo Insight and the NLP psychotherapy side of things, and that's where I tend to use the cards if I'm going to use them in a session, if the client really wants me to. You know, I have all sorts of other methods that I use, and so this is why I think one of the reasons why I really love this deck is because of the psychology and the 3D nature of, you know, the aspects to the cards. So highly recommend them. You know, and then at the back they've got a glossary of the symbolism inside, because on the reverse of quite a number of the cards, you know, you really do get, like, so this is the Seven of Swords, so that's that, you know, that's this side, the front, if you like, and then on that side, you know, so you get some really nice symbolism, like you've got a skull down here at the bottom, and, you know, swords actually grounded into the earth and such like. So they really are just truly amazing, and I just can't recommend them enough. If you like more depth to your tarot card readings, I would highly recommend that you get this deck, even if you just, you know, want to dabble in it, really. But this is now, for sure, for my own tarot card readings, this is definitely now my second deck, second in command deck, as it were. Absolutely love them. And I just wanted to share this really as a follow-up to my other video about how, you know, let's explore the cards and how you would actually use them. And I might do a demonstration of a tarot card reading, you know, using the deck in that kind of 3D way. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you've enjoyed that sort of review, as it were, of the full kit, including the book. Is excellently written. I mean, there aren't many books around that I really, really enjoy on tarot cards, to be honest with you, because they're very sort of, I don't know, there's just something about them. I'm not going to say anything negative, but this, highly recommend. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon in another video.